All right, so we're here tonight celebrating youth baseball, and the alumni are here to inspire young athletes and to get these clinics going. One thing that's a little bit troubling, and maybe you can speak to this, is 1959 was the last team, the Boston Red Sox, they had an African American player to their roster. At that point, there was 17% of the Major League Baseball was minority African American. Right now, it's down to 8%. What can Major League Baseball do to bring back that community? It seems like for some reason that it's not slowly, I mean rapidly, disappearing from the game.
Well, I still think that when you look at the dynamics of the game and the faces of the players of the game, it's as good as it's been in the history of baseball with the influx of the Asian ball players and the Latin ball players and all that. So I think that on a global scale, it's more of a global game and more of a representation.
More diverse.
Yeah, it's more of a
But
representation.
it does seem that that community, for some reason, is.
But you can't make people play baseball that don't want to play baseball.
But why is it that they don't? What's happened that?
Well, there's two things that have happened big are colleges and scholarship money. You're not getting money for baseball. So you're going to have to pay to play college baseball. So if you're not good enough to play professional baseball, if you go on to college, you're not getting much money. The better sports, as far as affordability-wise, for kids to go into college and continue to play a sport and then get an education, you have a better chance when you're given how many scholarships in football and basketball. I think D1 has 11.7 scholarships per team for 40 kids. So you're spreading out, you're just spreading it thin. And unfortunately, if you're a kid thinking that you got a chance to go to college, you want to pay for college when a lot of them can't afford to pay for 4 years of school, or you want to get some school taken care of. And kids think that they have a better shot at playing collegiately, playing those other sports. Also, at the grassroots efforts of baseball, a lot of kids get disinterested because they don't have the fields and the coaching and the things that you need there. That's tough. With the way the economy is, you don't have a lot of people that can just take the year off and coach.
Well, it's interesting that you said that because we were speaking to a couple of the other players, and I'm 52, so the way athletics have changed. Now, I was a travel coach as well,
right.
But now these travel organizations is costing kids $1,200 a year, and they're traveling to all these different tournaments over and above, just the fee to play.
So it's not the way it is now. If you're going to get seen and get exposure, which is what the big words are for baseball, you have to play on the travel team. High school teams aren't getting college coaches. Number one, the colleges and high school teams play the same time of the year. So how many coaches have a lot of free time when their season is going on? They don't. But during the summer, they can travel all over and see a lot of kids, and they pit the best against the best, and you travel, and that's the big thing. So locally, the Legion teams and the local teams there, the better players are going to go play on a travel team, which leaves the local teams not as good, which if you have a team that's not as good, kids aren't going to be as interested. Even though they should be worried about the wins and losses, they're all worried about the wins and losses. They don't want to compete for positions. They don't, so if the teams are good and you have to compete for a spot of playing time, you may not play on that team. You'll play on a lesser team so you can get – so it's a lot to it that, unfortunately, some of the better athletes that used to play baseball –
going to other sports. Yeah.
They go to other sports because it's cheaper, it's easier.
More access.
There's more access, and there's more scholarship money that's out there if you go play these other sports. Hopefully, with some of the rule changes and some of the things that may be happening jointly between Major League Baseball and NCAA, with the new draft rules and all that, that more of your better players will go to college. They'll have more money that they're using at the colleges to get more scholarship money, and then you'll see some of the kids that'll that'll forego playing baseball or playing football and basketball, and they'll go play baseball. So I see it at a small scale that it's getting better, because I go and watch some of the all-black schools play, and their rosters were half and half, and more so now that their rosters are some of the better black schools out there, like Bethune-Cookman, who makes regionals every now and then in Southern. They have rosters that now are 60 or 70% African American, where a few years ago it was half and half, because there just wasn't enough black kids that wanted to play ball. So I think it didn't go from one extreme to another in a short period of time. You said from 1959.
Right.
So I mean, that's not
a long period of time. It is a long period of time, but
it's not. In the grand scheme of things, it's not.
Right.
And with the dynamics of our country and all those kind of things, I think that Major League Baseball has tried to do a lot.
No, there's obviously they have all these different programs in
with
cities
the RBI
and everything.
and,
RBI is right.
And they're opening up academies and doing things like that. But I bet if they spent the kind of money that they spend in Latin America or in the United States, we wouldn't have this problem.
There you go. I totally agree with that. Now, you are different than a lot of people here, because, speaking of John Warden, and he grew up on a farm, and his inspiration, listening to radio and stuff. I mean, your dad, obviously one of the best players of my time. How did you get the bug? I mean, not every son goes into his father's business. What was it about the game? Being around your dad, seeing those Reds teams.
But in that time, you played baseball was the sport that almost everybody played. It wasn't football, it wasn't basketball, it was baseball. So for whatever reason, like I said, all those things have happened that have kind of changed things. But you just played, you played ball, and you watched baseball or listened to baseball, and that was a big thing. There wasn't 70 other things going on.
There was no Nintendo either.
Right. There were just you played. The majority of your better athletes played baseball. They liked baseball. They understood. They played. That was just how it was. But we were taught by the older generation. That was how it was. The older generation now is into the basketball, and Jordan came along in the 80s, and things like that. So those things change. We're seeing products now of parents that idolize Michael Jordan. So they talk basketball all the time, and then you see college basketball taking off since the mid 80s or so. So I think everything runs in cycles.
Excellent, Mcrae.